Good evening to all the undead ghouls and monsters. We are your horror hosts for tonight's Last Rites.
What is up, Monster Squad? This is episode 16. This is our second part to our two-part movie review. And today, me and Ollin are going to be bringing you 4 films. First, we have from 2022, House of Darkness, 2020's The Rental, 2023, Pet Cemetery Bloodlines. And this one's a little weird, but it was released in 2023, but it actually started doing its filming back in 2015. Not sure what happened there, but this is Kill Her Goats. I think these are going to be some good ones for us to talk about, especially when we get down to the Kill Her Goats. I mentioned in the last podcast that we had a movie for you that kind of made absolutely no sense whatsoever, had no rhyme or reason of what it was about and its premise and plot and story. And
it looked cool in the trailer.
Yeah, it looked super cool in the trailer, but after watching it
upon viewing, yeah.
We'll be talking about these 4 movies, so we'll get underway here. So before we get underway, we are not sponsored by them, but we would love to be. So unofficially sponsoring the podcast and murdering our thirst today is Liquid Death. We have Severed Lime again.
Severed Lime, the favorite.
The favorite. Eventually I'll find some other flavors. But today is Severed Lime. So here's to you, Liquid Death. Death to plastic, and this will be murdering our thirst throughout this podcast. Always delicious.
Oh, yeah. That hits the spot.
All right. On to business.
Yes,
House
sir.
of Darkness. Before we get into it, what's your overall consensus of this movie?
I got to be honest, this one, I did not like it at all.
Wow, really?
Yeah. Partly it's my fault because I might have overhyped myself for it. When I first saw the trailer and the premise for it, I was like, oh man, this looks so cool. But yeah, I watched it and I was not happy with it. And we'll get into it. We'll get into why.
Okay. Yeah, I'm actually on the opposite end of it. I was actually really happy with it. I thought it was a really cool take on the whole Dracula story.
Yeah.
As if you don't know, this is spoiler.
Yeah, we're gonna do spoilers for all these movies.
Yeah, so this is a spoiler for it, and if you haven't seen it, that's on you. So by this point, anything that we talk about is gonna have full spoilers. Anyways, the House of Darkness is a take on the Dracula trope of his brides, which I thought was awesome. I thought it was super cool. And it was really kind of creepy. It was awkward. Just, I thought overall really well written for having a minimal cast in it.
Yeah. The rapport between the two actors, it was good to see Kate Bosworth back. Hadn't seen her in anything in a while. So
yeah, the last thing I saw her in that I thought she was really good in was Superman Returns.
Right. Yeah, and
that movie gets a lot of shit, and fuck you for giving it shit. So. I liked it. I thought it was fucking dope.
Yeah, but that's been a while, right? So
yeah, it's been a long while.
So I was happy to see her back. And Justin Long, we had just seen him the year before in
Barbarians.
Yeah, and that one was okay. That one was pretty good. I think I gave it a pretty good review. But this one, man, I don't know. They did a really good job. They had a really good performance, both of them. But and as minimalistic as the setting, because everything just happens in like 3 rooms, right? Like
I think so.
The beginning is just them in the car. They go inside the house. For context, the plot is basically Justin Long plays what's his name, Hap Jackson, and I thought he was gonna be like some sort of like another classic character or a spin-off of a character from the Dracula, because Kate Bosworth plays Mina, and then there's a Lucy played by Gia Cravatin, which are classic characters, right, from the novels.
Yeah, I don't know who the Nora girl is, if that's always been her, but I know there's always been a third, I would call it third wheel, because she's never been that popular. Like Lucy was, I think, the first, And then there was the third wheel, I think, was brought into it. And then he was basically trying his damnedest to get Mina. And then you see in a lot of these further tellings that Mina is actually part of his brides now.
Yeah.
So it's weird how he got to her, or how she got involved with it. I don't know if she just basically gave herself to save Jonathan, or maybe Jonathan died and she wanted to live forever and thought this is the best way to do it. But yeah, that's a story for another time. You got the two classic characters, Mina and Lucy, and then you got this Nora chick, which I just think is a revolving door of a woman, that has to equal the 3. And why he has the 3, I don't understand that either.
Yeah.
He's real greedy. He
Yeah.
wasn't happy with the 1, so he made it 2, and then the 2 turned into 3.
He needs a full harem.
Yeah.
Here.
Yeah.
But yeah, so then I thought Hap Jackson, Hapgood.
That's a weird name, like a real old school name, Hapgood.
Yeah, I thought they would go more into it, and well, basically they meet somewhere like at a bar. He picks her up, although she picks him up, but they end up in her castle, her house, and he thinks things are gonna go down. Instead, he finds himself in a nest of vampires, and then they're
real awkward. Like, it's very so with like a lot of the movies coming out with people with tics and quirks and stuff like that. It really reminded me of like people that have that are kind of on the spectrum with a little bit of autism. Like it's how they acted, how they answered questions and stuff. Like it was like they're trying to play coy, but they didn't know how to play coy. And so, but they were also straightforward with him, just straight up. Like you said, he got brought back to the manor, castle, whatever it is, and he thinks things are happening, and then one of the sisters shows up, and just, I think to him it like threw a wrench in the whole, his plan of like, oh, I'm gonna get lucky and hook up with this girl.
Right. Well, he was about to, but then she shows up, right?
Yeah.
Then she's the one that they kind of make it seem like maybe he's starting to flirt with her too, and then maybe he's starting to get ideas of like maybe he might have a threesome or something.
That seems like every guy's fantasy.
Right. And I guess they were trying to make him, I don't know, did you get the impression that they were trying to make him unlikable? It didn't work for me that way.
No, I think they were trying to, it seemed like they were trying to spin him a certain way, but I don't think it was necessarily making it to where he was unlikable. I think the way that they're trying to approach it is to make you question like maybe some of his motives.
Yeah, he was a lot less likable in Barbarian, right? Like,
oh yeah, he was a straight fucking douchebag.
Yeah, but in this one, I don't know if they were trying to do like a kind of like a feminist view of the movie, but then why was Justin Long sort of like the protagonist of the movie? Everything was sort of seen through his perspective, but then I don't know. It just a lot of things that just maybe I just thought it was going to be more. There was going to be like more action. I thought he was going to be more like a Jonathan Harker type character, or even.
See, and I never thought he was going to be anything like that, and I was really glad they didn't go that route.
Yeah,
like, you wanted that, but
maybe.
Me personally, I don't. And I was glad they went with some just random character that they created. Through the beginning of it, I just thought there was an ulterior motive. I thought maybe he was a serial killer, because at first I didn't really understand what House of Darkness was. It didn't click in me until the whole Mina Lucy thing, and I was like, oh shit. I go, if there's a third girl that shows up, then I know exactly what this is and what's going on.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Because then there's a moment in where they're talking, and that's another one of my complaints. It was just talking heads most of the time. It's just talking, and I was like, when is something gonna happen? Like, but at a certain point, he mentions that his name is Hap, and it's short for Hapwood, and she was like, what does that come from? And he mentioned something like, it's a name that's been passed over through the generations in my family, and I thought, well then, okay, so then there's probably a motive of why Mina picks him up. There's like a specific history there that she might have with this family, and she has like some sort of grudge with these guys or something. But then they never elaborate on that. He just mentions it, and they move on to the next thing. And I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think I was ever picking that up.
Yeah,
with them.
maybe like I said, I was expecting too much, and in the whole movie, I was like, okay, now it's gonna happen, and it didn't happen, and I was like, okay, now it's gonna happen, and then I was like, well, then the movie ends, and I was like, that's it.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, I mean, I just like I said, I'm a huge. If you don't know it already, I'm a huge lover of Dracula and all the lore. So I just thought this was a super cool spin on the story. And just kind of like a side quest almost, you know.
Right. Okay.
It's a side quest of the brides. You know, this is their story.
Yeah.
This is kind of what they do. Here's a day in the life of what these chicks do, and you know they go to the bar. They pick up helpless men who think that they're picking them up.
Yeah. But
you
their
know,
food actually.
Yeah, and their food. So it's just a vicious cycle, you know.
Yeah.
And this just happened to be one of those stories. And like I said, I enjoyed it. I thought it was really good. It was really refreshing. You know, it was a completely different take on the whole, Dracula series. And they didn't have Dracula in it, so which was cool.
That part was cool. Yeah, I thought that it would have been too much than if you see Dracula come out at some point.
It's like that saying, tell me a story about Dracula without having Dracula in it.
Yeah.
And this is it.
This was that. Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I don't know. For some reason, it bored me, and I didn't like it.
Wow. Yeah, I thought there could have been some better sequences. There could have been some. I don't want to say jump scares, but more action. I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Because you're right. There was a lot of dialogue, so it was a lot of talking.
It was very verbose, and a lot of those conversations sort of went nowhere, in my opinion, and. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I just expected a little more, and then it annoyed me. This is now I'm nitpicking, but it really annoyed me when she would be like, "Okay, so like, would you like a drink?" And he was like, "Yeah," and he was like, "What would you like?" Like, and he's like, "What do you got?" And she's like, "Literally, just name it, and I'll make it happen." And he said he specifically named Maker's Mark, and he was like, "A Maker's Mark neat," and then she goes off. That was the first time, and then on the second time, she's like, "Okay, I'm gonna go get drinks." Same thing. And he was like, yeah. And she's gone for a long time. This is when he has that dream sequence. And then wakes up next to the sister, Lucy. And then they go off and, like, they have all this time to, like, go out on a tour of the house. They end up in the terrace.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Like,
And
what the fuck was she doing?
Yeah, what was she doing? What was she...
Did she have to go look it up? Or, like, she's been around for a while, so...
Yeah, did she have to go fly and go get it because it wasn't in the castle? Like, what was going on? Because a Maker's Mark neat is basically just whiskey in a glass.
Yeah.
Like, he didn't ask for on the rocks. Not even a cocktail. Like, even the simplest cocktail is, like, an old-fashioned. It's just, like, a piece of ice and maybe a maraschino cherry on it and some simple syrup. Even that shouldn't take that long. I was like, where is this girl with the drinks, dude? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, she literally must have, like, flown to the bar and then like, came back.
I don't know what was going on, but yeah, even that annoyed me. I was like...
Yeah, because she was gone an awfully long time on each time that she went to go get drinks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't think it hit me at first, but I think I was wondering that afterwards, and then I just kind of gave up and was like, whatever. It's it's obviously it's some part of the story.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe she was giving time for her sister to come in, but then she looked like a little surprised that her sister was there.
Yeah.
Because I know he was, because he was like, "Whoa, who are you?"
Yeah, because then she mentions Lucy, the sister, mentions that it was actually her turn to go out, and he was like, "Oh, what are you guys talking about?" Like, and then she was like, "Oh no, it's okay. We just didn't talk about it or something like that." And then they never mentioned it again.
And he was also under the impression that it was just them two, because I think she maybe misled him to think that.
Yeah, at first she was like, "No, it's just me," and then the sister's there, and then he's like, "Oh, so it's just you two?" And then the other,
then the third sister shows up.
And by then he's like, hey, "Fuck you guys! Like, what? The
yeah, like,
you guys keep lying.
Who else is in the house?"
Yeah. So that's pretty funny, but poor guy. They
they put him through the ringer.
Yep.
Yeah, that would be my only complaint about it, is that there should have been more sequences like that. They should have had less cat and mouse verbally and more cat and mouse, like
make it creepier, make it give me a little bit of suspense, give me a little I don't know. I need a little more meat on those bones, I think.
Yeah. I still, like I said, I still thought it was good. Like if I was to rate it, I would probably say 3.5 stabs, maybe close to 4, but not quite 4 because I wanted that little more action.
I give this one 2 stabs.
Wow.
I probably won't revisit in a while.
Wow, that's crazy. Okay, yeah. Well, that's House of Darkness. Let us know your thoughts of this in the comments. Let us know, if you liked it or you didn't like it. You with Ollin or you with me. To our next is The Rental. This is a little bit older one. This is actually from the pandemic, 2020.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
This is actually directed by Dave Franco, James Franco younger brother, and I say fucking kudos to Dave because I thought this movie was really good.
Yeah, he's never done like a horror or anything like that before, right? That's not really his.
Yeah, it's not.
This might have been his first.
I think he's more comedy, but this might be his first dabble in it, or at least to us,
Yeah.
The Rental, 2020, American horror film. Not only did he direct it, but he also co-wrote it with 2 other guys. And this one's got a pretty good cast.
Yeah, very, very good cast.
And we got Dan Stevens. He's a British actor. Alison Brie, Sheila Vand, and Jeremy Allen White. Oh, and also Toby Huss. I love Toby Huss. He's a great character actor.
Yeah, I recognize his name from the cartoon show King of the Hill. He did a bunch of voices there. I think he was Cotton.
He was on it?
I think so, yeah.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah.
Wow. And we got Jeremy Allen, fresh off of the A24 movie, The Iron Claw.
Yeah.
Plays Carrie Von Erich
I've
from the Von Erich family. Oh, you have yet to see that, huh?
I haven't seen it yet, but
Oh,
that's on the list.
I watched it like a week ago. Really good.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah, I'm a huge
Nice.
wrestling fan too, so I thought it was really cool.
Yeah.
And then you actually told me that Sheila Vand is the girl from the girl who walked home alone.
A Girl Walks Alone at Night.
Girl walks. I totally fucked that name up. It's all good though.
Yeah, another creepy movie. Yeah, she's in that. And then Alison Brie, who is, I believe, married to Dave Franco, right? Yeah.
And then Dan Stevens, he's a British actor. You said I didn't even know that. When I was looking up, he's got such a distinct look, and there was a scene that I saw on a fucking TikTok that had him, and I'm sure it's probably from this movie. I just don't recognize where the scene came from, but he had the same beard, like way more than 5 o'clock shadow beard, and had this real like serious look on his face, and it was just like a GIF almost. Of him like sitting somewhere and kind of making a face, and it was like very sinister looking face. So, and I was trying to figure out where the fuck did I see that from, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna look at his IMDb and try and figure out what movie it was from, and I didn't recognize shit for anything that he's done. I'm like, well, he looks so familiar. I know I saw him in the TikTok, and I was like, I could totally place something I've seen him in, and none of those titles look familiar, and I was like, I don't think I even know.
Yeah, I think mostly he does like British TV or, he's a British actor, so he does a lot of that. I only recognize him from Legion, an FX show.
Yeah,
this Marvel thing.
Yeah, we talked about that, and looks completely different because I was like, I was like, holy shit, that is him. But yeah, he just his look in that show is just 180 from what he looks like in normal life.
Yeah. That's a mark of a good actor. You see him in one thing and you see him in another, and they're like completely different people. So that's pretty good. And
then Toby Huss, one of my favorite things. There was a TV show with Lee Pace called Halt and Catch Fire, and he was one of the not main characters, but he was a supporting character in the show, and he was really good in it.
He was really good in this. He played a very good red herring. The whole time you're thinking, oh yeah, this guy's a jerk. He must be the guy, right? But yeah, no, the twist not at the end, but like in the middle. Like the last act, I guess. Yeah. When you figure out what everything is going on, you're like, oh wow, that was pretty crazy, and they did him wrong too. They did him dirty.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, this was definitely another one of those red herring ones. And so the guy that they have as the actual killer, he you don't know it until the very end because they run through the sequences through the closing credits. That he basically was wearing a mask to make throw the people off if ever he was caught on camera, And this movie was, I mean, virtually to me, it sounds like it's just like a blueprint for, for someone to be just a psychopath killer, just to set this up. So you have a rental. This guy goes, rents the place, sees what's, available to him, and then he starts hiding cameras everywhere through the place. So then the next group of people that rent the house or apartment or whatever it is that he's renting after him, because it's never the same place.
No.
It looks like it's always somewhere new, something different. And the next place he goes to, the next people that come in the rental after him, he starts spying on them and he tries to figure out, what's the best way to start fucking with them or keep information, hold over their head, how he plots to kill them.
Right. This is how he stalks his next victims, right?
Yes. He's got this, it reminds me a lot of like Jackass, like the old man mask.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so he's got like something similar to that. Does not, obviously look like him, but you never see his face. You only see like the back of him or a little bit of a side profile, but nothing enough for you to,
Nothing without the mask.
Nothing to put anything together.
So that adds to the creepiness and like the mystery of like, who is this guy? Why is he killing people? I don't know. But
yeah, so he obviously rented this house that this group of people are staying at, did all the cameras and is spying on them. So you have Dan and Allison, who play Charlie and Michelle, and then there's Sheila and Jeremy, who play Josh and Mina. So Charlie and Josh are brothers. Mina and Charlie are work partners.
Yeah.
And then Michelle is Charlie's wife. They get a rental, which is this place. There's
like a little drama going on.
Yeah.
Behind sort of like they have a lot of like history. You learn a little bit about like their love history, how they meet and they get married and stuff like that.
Well, that comes, I think, a little bit later in the story.
Yeah.
So but the first part of it is the whole thing with Josh is kind of, he's not weirded out, but he doesn't understand the dynamics between Charlie and Mina, who are work partners, and it really seems like there's something more there, but you don't really get that until
later. Yeah.
Until later. And the wife is just basically like, oh, you'll get used to it. It's okay. It's just one of those things. That's how they work. I'm glad that he has her to bounce these ideas off and is able to talk, his talk with her, because obviously it's not her thing. And so...
Yeah, because Josh is feeling kind of, shall we say, like inadequate, because he's kind of like the ne'er-do-well brother, younger brother, and... he's been in jail. He's been in trouble before in his life. This is the first time he feels like his life is on track.
Yeah.
So he
doesn't want to lose her.
Right. Exactly.
So basically, Michelle is just trying to reassure him that everything's cool, and this is just kind of how they are. So you just kind of take that with a grain of salt, and you're just like, okay, I'll go with that. So later on in the night at the rental, they decide that they want to do drugs. And
they bust out some Molly or something.
Yeah, they must have, they had some like ecstasy, and then I think they're calling it Molly also. And Michelle, she's too tired, so she's like, you know what, you guys go ahead and partake. I'm gonna go to bed early, and we'll just do it again tomorrow.
Yeah, because she wanted to go on a hike or something in the morning.
Yeah, she wanted to go on a hike, and she wanted to make sure that she was rested enough, because it was like one of the things that was why she wanted to go to that rental.
Yeah, she was excited about it.
Yeah, so so these three, take the Molly, just living it up, partying. Josh ends up passing out because he just can't handle it, I guess.
He drinks too much too.
Yeah, and then that leaves Mina and Charlie. So they're in the hot tub, and it looks like they kiss, and then there's this like a sound off in the distance, and then the dog. Oh, they have a dog with them too.
The little dog. Yeah,
Josh brought his dog, so, and I guess that was a no-no. That was not on part of the rental agreement, but they were trying to hide it. But that's that's something for later. And so the dog comes running up onto the deck, scared because like some kind of noise, and it kind of wigs both of them out a little bit, more her than him. And so she's like, oh, I'm gonna go shower and just go to bed. So she gets out of the hot tub, gets in the shower, And then within like a couple minutes of her being in the shower, you hear the door open, and then you see Charlie getting into the shower with Mina, and they like two people who are getting down. They get down in the shower.
They do the deed.
Indeed. And not knowing to their surprise that there's a camera in the shower head.
Yeah.
Which it won't be discovered until later in the film. But now's the next morning. There's the hike, and both Charlie and Mina are super fucked up from the drugs and decided to stay home. Josh, because he went to bed, at a
little earlier,
a decent time, I guess, said that he'll keep her company. And that's where he lays into, not lays, those are wrong words. That's where he starts giving Michelle information about Charlie's past.
Yeah.
About the kind of habitual dating habits that he has.
Yeah, I guess he has a pattern of hooking up with somebody while he's still in a relationship with somebody else.
Yes, correct. And so that wigs out Michelle. So when they get back, it was one of those things where he's like, "Hey, babe, welcome back," and then she just kind of blows him off completely.
Yeah, now there's friction. Now there's it's awkwardness. It's weird. Yeah.
Yeah. So then he goes in and talks to her, and she kind of not confronts him about it, but she starts asking him questions, and then he's just like, "Oh, what the fuck?"
Yeah. Yeah, because she's annoyed at it.
Yeah, and then he comes out. And just smacks Josh in the back of the head because he's on the couch with Mina.
Yeah.
And then he sits down on the couch next to him. He's just kind of thinking, what the fuck, dude? What do you have to open your mouth for? So, and then after that, it seems like everything's kind of almost getting back on track. And then she's like, well, I want to do Somali, let's do Somali. And then all three of them basically just shut her down.
Yeah.
They're like, well, we don't want to. She's like, fine, fuck you. I'm going to do it and have fun.
Yeah.
And then that's where I think it starts getting interesting.
Yeah. And around that time is when Mina, right, discovers the camera in there. And we should say there's a little friction between Mina and Toby Taylor, played by Toby Huss, because she was annoyed that she wanted to book the same spot, and she thinks there's some sort of racism because she's Middle Eastern.
Yeah, her character's Middle Eastern, and then the other three people are white.
Right, and she's saying, well, how come the white guy gets the booking almost immediately, and I didn't. And she's thinking Taylor is kind of a jerk because of that, like a racist jerk. And this is where the red herring is, right? You're thinking, yeah, this guy's a jerk, and everything he does is kind of like there's friction between them two, right?
Yeah, but we're just kind of jumping around too a little bit. This is at the beginning of when they get to the rental,
right?
When this happens, because she just confronts him and says, why is it when I put the request in, you denied me, but then 3 hours later when Charlie puts it in, and then he gets accepted, and he's just he completely just blows her off too, and he's just whatever, doesn't really give a shit.
So it comes into play too, because then Michelle wants to use the hot tub, but then it won't work. Now she's like, I'm calling the guy to fix it. So. But by now, Mina had already seen the camera, and she's like, we gotta call the police. But then he's like, no, because then remember what we did last night? It's captured in this camera, and they're like, oh shit.
Yeah. So they think that Taylor will reveal the footage because they think he's the one recording them.
Right.
Which again, we're jumping around. During the hike, she took a shower and then discovered the camera in
right,
there.
That's when it was, yeah.
Yeah, called in Charlie and said, what the fuck is this? And then they went over to the next bathroom because he started panicking to the bathroom that they basically hooked up in that shower,
right.
And saw that there was a camera in there, and he was like, fuck. Just losing it. But then that's when all that kind of played out.
So at first they decide to just
Yeah, they decide
let it go, and it's well, too bad. It's better not to get caught, right?
Yeah, because he's like, if he doesn't release it to us and to our partners, he's only going to keep it for himself. He's not going to sell it to anybody. So that's how they justified it.
Yeah.
And then and then I guess something was wrong with the hot tub. It was stuck in cleaning mode, I guess, is what we found out. But at that point, Michelle had already called him to come over, and then now they start panicking because they're like, "Fuck, he's coming over." And then
because the thing he's got access to the footage.
Yeah. So he fixes the hot tub, gets it all ready. So Michelle and Charlie are outside because she didn't want him to leave her. She's like, "Yeah, just stay, keep me company until the hot tub warms up." And at that point, which this is the one thing I hated, but it's brilliant writing, is that Mina is like a dog with a fucking bone, that every chance that she gets to confront this fucking guy Taylor, she does.
Right.
So, next thing I know, she's like, I want to show you something. And then she takes him in the restroom, and he's like, "Oh, is it that damn toilet again?" And
right, he has no idea.
yeah, he has no idea because he's not the guy.
Yeah.
But you don't know that.
Right.
And so then she points out the fucking camera, and he's like, "What the fuck is," like, he was surprised too. And she's like, "Don't act like you're surprised," and like, "This is yours." And it just starts going off. And then like just craziness like starts going on, starts yelling at him. And then Josh comes running in and just like tackles him in the fucking bathtub.
Yeah, knocks him out.
Yeah, knocks him out. And then everybody like leaves the bathroom. And then next thing you know, you see the killer like just rush into the bathroom and then just put something over Taylor's face. And then when they
suffocate him.
Yeah, when they go back into the bathroom, he's dead. And now they're just like up shit creek without a paddle. They're just like, "What the fuck do we do?"
This is when it really starts to ramp up.
Yeah, and then so Charlie, Mina, and Josh, their minds are just in overdrive, and they're just trying to think of how they can fucking fix it. And all Michelle's like, "No, we got to call the police." She wants to do the right thing.
Yeah.
And the rest of them are like, "No, fuck the right thing." Especially Charlie. He's like, Josh, he's got a history. He's going to go back to jail.
Right.
And
they're for murder.
For murder, and
that's 25 to life, baby.
They're not going to be nice to him in there. So he's thinking of his little brother. And that's where everything just kind of one thing after another starts happening. Yeah, it's super crazy. Like,
yeah, they try to get rid of the body. They do it wrong.
So they take the where the house is. There's like a giant cliff, and they take it and they try to throw it over the cliff to go into the ocean. But there's like a little like steep ledge that the body like falls down on, and they're just like looking at it thinking, "What the fuck?" So then Charlie's like looking around for big boulders, and he starts picking these things up, trying to like thinking that he's gonna hit the body with the boulders, and the body's gonna somehow miraculously roll into the ocean.
Yeah.
Off the cliff from the boulder.
They keep hitting him in the head with boulders. That was brutal. I'm gonna jump back a little bit. They lose the dog, remember? And the whole time I'm thinking, "Oh man, did they kill the dog? What happened to the dog?" And that's another point of contention when Josh wants to know what's happened with the dog, and so he confronts Taylor about it. And Taylor's like, "You're not even supposed to have dogs here. Like, what are you talking about?"
Yeah, that's when he first got there to fix the spot.
Right. So like
he was on the Mina train where he wanted to confront him because he was already worked up about it. He's like, fucking dog.
This is when the chaos starts to happen, and it snowballs from there.
Yeah. Yeah, so as they're throwing boulders down at the body and they're missing or hitting his head and it's not doing anything, Josh decides to climb down and to roll the body into the ocean. As they come back with another boulder, Charlie and Mina, and they're like, "What the fuck?" And he's like climbing down, and he's like, "No, it's cool, I got this. It's my fault. I did this. I need to finish it." So he gets down there, like literally like loses his balance and then just falls right on top of the body.
Yeah.
Which I thought was a little comical, but
yeah.
It's one of those things that, you could totally see in life actually happening. It's like, fuck, what else can life throw at me?
And the killer must have been laughing. He was like, "They're doing my cleanup."
Yeah, he's
and they're fucking it up.
And he's probably just thinking, "Jesus Christ." He's let's see how this plays out. So he finally gets down there. Like I said, he falls in the body and then rolls the body into the ocean. So goodbye, Taylor. He's off. He's fish food now. And then they I'm not sure exactly how he got back up. Must have really climbed her.
Yeah, they don't show it.
Then they just show him pull him up off the very top of the edge of the cliff.
Yeah.
And well, I'm trying to think what happened. The killer was there. He because they were walking back and it looked like he was getting ready to come at them, but then like he didn't.
Right. He's just stalking them at this point.
But he was like plain sight visible, like for them. If they turned around, like they would have saw him. But they just completely oblivious to him being behind them.
Yeah, too busy trying to cover the tracks.
Yeah, and then they go up on the deck, and that's when things inside start happening.
Yeah, at a certain point they try to, because before they had discovered this door that was under some raft or something like that.
Yeah, there's a door that's locked under the deck.
Yeah, and now they're trying to get in there.
It's the rain.
Yeah. I was like, what was that? What was that noise?
It's raining currently where
raining.
we're at, so which is weird. But yeah, what we're saying.
The part where they're trying to get into that one locked door, and they finally get in there, but they don't find anything. They thought they were going to find like monitors.
I think you jumped ahead too far.
Yeah.
I'm trying to retrace the tracks of the movie, like of what happened. So while they're out trying to dispose of the body, Michelle is in the house by herself, and she starts hearing like a shower. So you see her walking through the house, going to the bathroom, looking to see if the shower's on, because she hears a shower turn on and a shower turn off. So she goes She goes into the first bathroom and sees that no shower, no water, it's not wet. Hears it again, goes into the next shower. So it's basically like she hears the sound and she's like going to all the obvious spots where there would be water, or like a shower or some kind of force of water like pouring out. And she doesn't find anything. Finally, she hears it again, and now it's coming from upstairs. So she goes, up. She has like a spiral staircase that takes her up to another level of the house. So she goes up there, and up there's a TV
with the footage.
Yeah, with the footage. And so there she sees Charlie and Mina, doing the deed in the shower, and just mentally like loses it.
Yeah.
So as they're coming back from body disposal, she's in the car now, taking off down the driveway, and Charlie's like trying to stop her and then talk to her, and so finally she stops at the very edge before it gets to the main road, and he talks to her, and she's like, I saw the footage, and gives them the whole rundown. And he's like, well, let me tell you what happened, and she's like, just at that point not giving a shit what he has to say, and then just takes off.
Yeah.
And then Josh, the younger brother, he's just like, what the fuck, is she coming back?
What just happened? That's a ride.
Yeah. And they're basically worried about her telling, and he's like, no, she's not going to say anything to anybody, don't worry about it. She's just he chalks it up to, because Josh doesn't know right now about Charlie and Mina, only Michelle does.
Right.
And he chalks it up to she had her breaking point, and she just needs to leave and blow off some steam, trying to, I guess, sway them to think that she's gonna maybe come to her senses and come back. But she's leaving, going through the road, and runs over a tire strip, spike strip.
The killer puts spikes on the road. Yeah.
And but you don't see that until after she hits that, because she hits you hear something happen with the tire, and then she veers off and hits a tree.
Yeah.
And now she's like, fuck. And then she gets out of the car, and she's like looking around, and sees the tire and trying to figure out what she needs to do, and then she sees the spike strip behind her, and then she's like, oh shit. And then she gets back into the car and she's getting ready to start it again, and then you see the side of the side of the car, the driver's door, and you see the killer just like rapidly approaching, and then just it's like a cutscene.
Right.
So-
But she was texting Charlie at that point, right?
Yeah, she was.
Or
She was
calling or texting him.
I think she was texting him.
Yeah, because then Charlie tries to go.
Yeah, Charlie's like, "Oh shit, Michelle's in trouble," and he
yeah.
runs up the road.
Right.
So he gets up to the road, sees the car, and then sees her on the side of the road. And then next thing you know, like, the killer hits him, and then so both of them now are out.
Kill number 2. Or 3 at this point.
Yeah, technically.
Body number 3.
Body number 3.
And now we're at that scene that I was talking about with Josh and Mina going into that.
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
So that one of the things they talked about when they got back is that there's got to be some kind of Wi-Fi, because the cameras are all Wi-Fi. So there has to be some kind of router or Wi-Fi device in the house.
Yeah.
So they're basically like looking all over the house for it. But that's when Josh got Charlie got the call from or the text from Michelle, and so they go down underneath because Josh remembers the door, and so they go down and they're trying to break it in. He finally just kicks the fucking doorknob off, and then opens it up. And yeah, he made those comments about like he's like, I don't know, I'm not sure what I was hoping to find. I didn't know if it was gonna be like one of those like monitor centers or something a little more elaborate, and it just literally looked like storage. And then next thing, like for me, I thought, oh well, I wonder if this is storage for all these people, kind of like from Dusk Till Dawn. You see like in the back of the Titty Twisters, like all those fucking semis and RVs and rigs that are like in that giant pit.
Yeah, all the stuff that other people leave behind, the other victims.
So that's what kind of went through my head when I saw that, and I was like, that's interesting. But yeah, obviously not the case, because you find out differently that it's always a new place when they're running the credits.
Right.
Yeah, so they're still hunting they're still hunting for the Wi-Fi router or whatever the device is that they think they're looking for, but they're not sure exactly what it's going to look like. And then so Mina says, I'm going to go inside and check inside, and then Josh hears the door like slam, but it's like because the doorknob's broken and it won't latch. And I don't think I was paying attention like what happened, if the killer grabbed him or not, or what. I don't think so.
Who, Josh?
Yeah, like when he got to the door and he like looked out. Like I don't know. I don't remember if it was a cutscene or what happened, because he didn't get attacked until he was inside the house.
Yeah, what I remember happening is he gets some texts with some videos from Charlie's phone.
Oh, that's what it was.
And that's when he starts confronting her about it. Like, what the fuck? What is this about?
No, he gets a voice message of their conversation. So Charlie and Mina had a conversation at the table after Josh and Michelle went on the hike.
Oh, right, that's right.
Yeah, and she was telling him, I'm smarter than this. We can't let this happen
and
again.
he's like, what were you guys talking about?
Yeah, and he's like,
right.
What do you mean this can't happen again? So what does that mean?
Yeah.
And he's just like, he's already in defense mode.
Right.
Yeah, I can't remember how the killer was in the house, like what part it was. That's the only thing. I'm trying to put it together. I just watched this movie too.
Yeah, because so he hears someone come into the house, and he thinks it's Charlie. So he's gonna go ask him about the whole like he wants answers, right? But instead, I think it's the killer, and the killer.
But where did Mina go? Because she was with him, and then she wasn't.
She was like upstairs somewhere, and then because he's like, I'm gonna kill him, and she's like, no, but instead, I think it's the killer. And
no, it is the killer. But I'm just trying to figure out how they separated.
Right.
That's not. Like,
yeah, I don't remember either.
Somehow they separated. So.
I think it was just I think Josh just rushes ahead of her, and that's when he gets hit, and then Mina just sort of watches happen from the distance.
Yeah, because she's hiding up in she's hiding up in the upstairs area, and then she makes it seem like she jumped out the window
Yeah.
because she threw her shoe out the window, and so he goes downstairs to go after her, and then so she just like stupidly like goes down, almost follows him, like, but not following him, but she just goes down after him. She doesn't give it enough time, and that's always one of my pet peeves, like with people, is like fucking give it some time, let the fucking killer like go out and get lost somewhere, or
Yeah.
choose a different route when they see that they hadn't gone that way, or wait for them to see if they come back upstairs or not. You
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
Just
They always do something stupid so that the killer has an easier time killing.
yeah. So she literally like goes down like right behind him, it seems like, and then she goes out the door, and then as she goes out the door, she's trying to run, and he like basically like blindsides her, from the side of the wall, and then sends her down the fucking down the wooden stairs off the deck. So now she's like running from him.
Yep.
I'm trying to remember how she fucking.
She's running in the fog and she doesn't see the cliff.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah.
she just falls off the cliff. And the killer was like, "Well, that was easy."
Was that the end of her? Like, I don't remember.
Yeah. She just falls off the cliff, and that was it. And then the killer comes back and starts picking up all his equipment.
Did they even show her, like, her body or anything?
No, you just see her, because
Yeah, 'cause I saw-
when the camera pans down into the cliff, there's nothing. I think she just falls into the water, and then just sinks or something. Because you just see her, you don't see her fall, but you see her.
You see her drop.
Yeah, you see her drop, and then the camera just sort of pans through the fog and looks down the cliff, and there's nothing. It's just an empty cliff.
Hmm.
And then the next thing you see is the mass killer just picking up his stuff.
Yeah. He just goes through and just you see him where he hid the router and the Wi-Fi device, like up in the. Looked like it was up in an attic.
Yeah.
Because he like
Oh, right.
he moved.
Oh yeah, that's right.
He like
yeah.
moved a panel.
It was up, not down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which to
And-
me, that's one of the first places. If you have some kind of drop ceiling, that's one of the first places I'm gonna look.
Yeah.
At least to my knowledge, like that's where I would think I would hide something that's supposed to be out of sight, because you see something flashing or moving lights, and you're just like, oh, I wonder what that's for.
Yeah, and then that was the end of Mina, and then you see the dog at the end. And I was like,
yeah.
oh yeah, okay, cool. They didn't kill the dog.
They didn't kill the dog, but then you think that the killer's going to kill the dog, but then he just goes and fucking he like puts does he put food down for it, or does he just pets him?
I think he just tries to pet him, and the dog's like, I don't know you, dude. And he's like, okay, and then he just leaves.
Yeah. Oh, that's what it was. Yeah, and then it runs the credit sequence where you see him how he does his shit, where he gets the rental and then starts putting in the cameras, and then you see the other people who are renting it after him.
Series of people just watching TV,
Yeah, and it shows you a whole bunch of different places, different people.
There's like a couple doing yoga or something, and like just like super creepy camera angles of like just unsuspecting people just going about their day,
Yeah. Which, like I said, I thought it was a really good movie, and it definitely hit one of those nerves, because you're just kind of like, this could actually really happen in real life. So that's why they always tell you, kind of check your areas when you go to a rental, see if there are, hidden cameras. And I see a lot of fucking TikToks about people and doing stupid shit to the mirrors, seeing if it's a, one-way mirror, if it's a two-way mirror.
Oh yeah.
Just to be safe. Which is funny.
Yeah, what did you think? Would you put this killer? Do you think there would be like does this have potential for a franchise and see this killer again somewhere?
No, I don't see this as a potential
No?
franchise, because it's the same. They would be telling the same story over and over and over.
Right.
All it is just a new cast.
So you consider this more like a cool one-off?
Yeah, I think it's definitely a cool one-off. It definitely could not be franchised. And if they try to franchise it, I think shame on them, because people are going to get bored of it real quick, because it's just, like I said, it's going to be the same formula each time. Just you're gonna have a new group of actors portraying these people, and then you got the same killer. And
Right.
How how many of these movies are you gonna watch before you decide I don't want to watch this anymore? Like,
Right.
I don't want to continue on if they make any more movies.
Okay.
So one and done, cool.
Perfect. Yeah.
And like I said, I thought it was super good. Definitely kudos to Dave and his group, for writing it and putting it out there, because it's ultra realistic.
Yeah, and I think the cast really carried the movie. Like,
Yeah.
This group of actors just did a bang up job. Every one of them.
Yeah, definitely. I would still give it like a 3.5 stabs out of 5.
Yeah, me too. 3.5.
Yeah, I couldn't
Same
give
here.
it. I couldn't give it any more. It just it had to have more. Although the twist at the end, I didn't. Well, not the end, but like in the last half, definitely got me, because they really were pushing Taylor's character to be the red herring.
Yeah.
To be the killer, and
Once he gets killed, you're
it was
like,
extremely
okay.
obvious. But then you're like, well, no, maybe he is the killer, and he's just being fucking a dick.
Yeah.
Or this is just how he is.
Yeah. Yeah, no, but once they kill Taylor, it was all.
Yeah. Then you're just like, oh fuck.
Yeah. Yeah. And the whole drama about it, like I said.
Yeah, because there was a real big buildup with the hate, that was
Mhm.
between them and him. But yeah, like I said, 3.5. So, and that went a little bit longer than we should have went on that, but whatever. Yeah, I thought it was a good movie. Definitely check it out. Let us know what you thought in the comments, if you liked it or not. Okay, next on our list here is Pet Sematary Bloodlines. This is a 2023 release, and not so much a continuance of the story, but a continuance of the franchise.
Yeah, sort of. This one's, I guess it would be considered like a prequel, right?
Yeah, in a way, I guess, because it happened before the first Pet Sematary movie that came out. I don't exactly remember the years it was supposed to be, but I think it was probably like 80s, maybe
Yeah.
late 80s, 90s, something like that.
The first Pet Sematary was 1989.
I know, but what time
The
frame
timeline, yeah.
was it set in is the question. That I don't remember.
Yeah, I
But
kind of
it seemed like it was modern, like modern time, modern day.
at the time, yeah.
As for this one, is more of a what is it? Period piece. Like it's in it's during the Vietnam War.
Yeah.
So it's like late 60s, early 70s.
Says here 1969.
Yeah.
So this is a young Judd Crandall, who was originally played by Fred Gwynne. In the original movie, I mean.
Oh, so there is some continuity.
Yeah, so it's the same character, but now he's in his younger years.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, I had to like go back and kind of watch or refresh my memory on the first movie, because I was like, okay, so wait, who are these characters again? And yeah, it's now Jackson White plays Judson Crandall as a young man who, I guess his friend goes to the Vietnam War and he doesn't. It's sort of like the setup here.
Yeah, so it's a trio of friends. It's him, Timmy, and their other friend,
Manny?
Manny. And Manny is Native American, and he
Yeah.
has a sister, and so they have a place that they're at, and he's just kind of seems like he's just going through the motions of life, just whatever. Judd's family, in some way, you find out, keeps him from going to the war, and that kind of pisses off some people, because they just kind of like, oh, well, your daddy and mommy paid,
Yeah.
the doctor.
Privileged.
Yeah, you're privileged. But he wants to serve in some way, and his buddy Timmy, went to the war, and came back and just
He was a little bit shell shocked. Would you say?
yeah, he definitely had a lot of PTSD when he came back. So this is not so much the origin of the pet cemetery, but it gives you some more lore
Yeah.
and some more of the origin story of the pet cemetery.
Yeah, it might have been Judson's first brush up with the whole pet cemetery, and it's supposed to be like an ancient Indian burial ground, and why it has like those properties and all that.
Yeah, so similar to what he was explaining to the family that moved into the house
Right.
back in the '89 movie.
Yep.
And yeah, so the lore is that there was these families similar to like the Pilgrims when they came over on the Mayflower, how they had signed a charter. These people signed a charter and came over to this town, and the families of the original, the family members that are left of the original family, all have lived in this town forever, and they just keep repopulating it with their next of kin. And they're the keepers of the pet cemetery. They make sure that the evil stays, literally buried and not reburied. And so what happens, because they don't really explain it too well, I think Timmy takes his own life and his dad is not having it. And so he drags him over to the pet cemetery, damn well knowing what it's going to do.
Yeah.
Buries his kid, and his kid fucking comes back. And like they say, they never come back the same.
Right.
And so, after that happens, then, shit starts happening. So the next day, Judd and his girlfriend are going to the Peace Corps, or at least supposedly they signed up for it, and so they're supposed to be leaving the town to go to the Peace Corps. And on their way out, right before they hit the city limits, some kind of crow or raven hits the windshield, and Timmy's dog is basically sitting in front of the car, and just fucking freaks him out because the bird smashes the window of his car, and now there's the dog, and so he thought as a good gesture, they'll walk the dog back to Timmy's house.
Yeah, and that's where we meet David Duchovny's character, Bill.
Well, we meet him earlier than that because they're in town getting supplies for their drive.
Oh, that's right.
So this is where we meet Timmy for the first time. I think it's Timmy, because he's at the door, and so they walk the dog back, and then the dog attacks the girlfriend, latches onto her fucking hand and just won't let go, and Timmy's just staring out the door,
just looking,
just in a trance. And so Judd carries his girlfriend, I don't know if he takes her back to the house or takes her to the hospital. He carries her somewhere, and she ends up in the fucking hospital.
Yeah, to get fixed.
Yeah, so it's just weird, creepy crap just starts happening, one thing after another. Manny and Donna, they're the Native American siblings. Manny's trying to convince Donna to get out of town, to do her, she's like an artist, and to get out of town. And no, that's not right. I think she's trying to convince him to get out of town with her.
Yeah, he doesn't want to.
He doesn't want to go. That's what it is. And she's like, yeah, I got this show set up, and you should come with me. And then they're walking through this field of sunflowers, and then next thing you know, they there's blood or something like that. They hear sounds, and they think they see Timmy, and I know they got spooked, and then they left the field.
I think it was. Was it the dog again?
Was it the dog?
Something happens to Manny where he hurts his hand or something.
Yeah, I know they hear a sound and stuff like that. Yeah, he falls and he hurts his hand, because then that's where he runs into Judd at the hospital. And then he starts asking him, what the fuck's going on? He's like, I haven't seen you in He's like, I thought you were leaving town, and
Yeah, it was just part of
He's like,
more,
"What?"
more. Just adds to the creepiness. They're just hearing like noises, and then they find like some blood on like the leaves and stuff like that. They're just seeing weird shit,
yeah,
you know.
yeah, and he trips somehow, and then like something goes through his hand. I don't know if it's like a piece of glass or something cuts his hand, and so he ends up having to go to the hospital.
Yeah,
And then like on his release, as he's walking out, he runs into Judd, and so they play catch up for a minute, and he's explaining that Timmy's back, and then that's where I think I was confused, because that's where he said something along the lines of like, oh, I think we saw him in the field.
right.
So
Yeah, because they're talking about him, right?
Yeah, they're talking about him.
And
He's
they're
like-
like, he's not the same.
he's saying like how he fucking just sat there or stood there at the door, like, well, he let his dog attack my girlfriend.
I think that's when we see David Duchovny again, and he's like gutting a hog or something.
No. So Judd goes back to wants to talk to Timmy and find out why he fucking was just standing there, and his dad
Yeah.
had the dog, like he was digging a hole in his yard for something. I don't remember what it was. Maybe it was the hog or something like that. But the dog was also dead,
Yeah.
and it was like laying next to where the hole was. So it looked like to me, it looked like he was getting ready to bury the dog,
Bury the dog. Okay.
like on his property.
Yeah.
But then you see later on the fucking dog's back again, so he
Yeah.
must have buried the dog in the pet cemetery.
Right. To bring him back.
Yeah, to bring him back. And it's like, this guy does not learn his lesson. And he's like defending, he's like, no, Timmy's not here. Timmy's not available. Even though Timmy was like in the yard, like with them, like being a creeper. And then he was like trying to defend the dog too, saying, no, the dog wouldn't do that. But it's like, why was the dog dead? Like on the ground, like right next to the hole where he was digging. So that some of that didn't make sense to me. That's why I just assumed that he was just fucking gonna bury the dog in the pet cemetery, or I figured he buried the dog in the pet cemetery when you saw the dog again later, because the dog fucking kept coming back. So the dad, which I thought was kind of cool, the dad, Judd's dad in the movie is Elliot from E.T.
Oh yeah.
That's where I recognized him from.
Oh wow.
Yeah, all grown up. Good old Elliot. And so they know the lore and the history, and he calls like for a meeting to get them all together. He calls a meeting amongst the families that are left in town. Pam Grier, who's also in the film,
Right.
she plays a character named Marjorie, who is getting ready to go meet them at the diner and is attacked by the dog.
Right.
So it seems like wherever Timmy goes, the dog goes, and I'm not sure why Timmy didn't attack her, but just the dog did. So maybe he's thinking that maybe he thought the dog was just going to take care of business, and it didn't. The rest of the founders are at the diner, and they're wondering where she's at, and then you the dog was there, so you're thinking, oh fuck, the dog killed her.
She's
Yeah,
off.
and then she appears, and her face is kind of fucked up.
Yeah. She's only
And
got
she's-
half a face.
Yeah, she's like, I got attacked by
But she survives.
by Timmy's dog. She's all, I can't say the same about Timmy's dog though. So I fucking killed him.
Damn. That's badass.
Yeah, so they now know what they have to do, because they discuss what's
Yeah.
happening and shit like that.
They
And,
they already know the history, right?
yeah, they already know the history, because they're the keepers of the cemetery. So they obviously put two and two together that something's going wrong, that Timmy must have got buried.
Yeah. And came back.
And same with the dog. But yeah, so they put together a plan. So the next sequence is at Donna and Manny's place. So Manny comes back, and they're having like a little like get together. Like there's like dancing and
Mhm.
music and things like that. And then Timmy shows up.
Yeah,
and
there's like this really awkward scene where
Yeah.
like, he tries to dance with her or something.
just makes it completely like fucking super awkward.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Manny like pushes him down and tells him he needs to knock the shit off and fucking not grow up, but like pretty much along those words.
Yeah. I remember Manny talking to Judd about it. I think after that,
Is that okay? Yeah, because I know they set him and Donna separated. Because then Donna gets attacked in the house,
Right.
Because she thinks it's Manny. She like hears noises upstairs, so she thinks it's Manny, but obviously it's Timmy.
It's Timmy, and he stabs her.
And then that's the last you see of her until she makes her appearance at the hospital. And then you know at that point, like the way she looks, that she was killed and then brought back.
Right. Yeah. Timmy's the one that takes her to the cemetery, and that's how she comes back, right?
Yeah, because they mentioned something about it's an evil that needs to feed. Obviously, the more that he kills and he feeds to it,
Yeah.
he starts making others.
Spreading it.
Yeah, spreading it. It's a hard movie to follow, or at least to explain. Like watching it was super cool. Like I enjoyed it, but trying to explain it, it's just
Yeah. A little moving pieces on this one.
So Donna's at the hospital. The girlfriend's there, made a recovery. She's not good enough to get out of the hospital yet. Donna just basically like goes on a killing rampage and like kills like the nurses and doctors, and Norma, who's the girlfriend, she's like basically like running for her life. And then but at the end, like she gets caught by Donna. Now there's like it's like a trap being put into place, and so now the Scooby Gang has got to go fucking save Donna. And then they bring in David Duchovny, who plays Timmy's dad, Bill, and he finally is now on board. He's like, you know what, I fucked up. I got to take care of this.
I'm gonna have to fix it. Yeah.
Yeah. So just not sure what the fuck happened to him. Why he was like so gung ho to bring him back to life, like to fuck everything up for everybody, but realizes obviously he made a fucking mistake, and then now they're putting together a plan to try and like get rid of Timmy and Donna, and then find Norma playing a cat and mouse game throughout the Baderman house looking for Timmy. And they come across where the house is set on fire, so now they have to get down into the cellar. And as they're down in the cellar, they come across this like hole in the wall, and Baderman's like, I didn't do that must have been Timmy. He's probably had a lot of time on his hands to do this, and he like dug himself a network of tunnels like underneath the house. Basically, like they're trying to see if they can find Donna through the tunnels. Timmy like finds his way in there and then starts working his way through the people. So he kills his dad, tries to get to him and Manny, but doesn't. But I think I jump ahead before they went down into the cellar thing. Donna's in the house. Manny's like doesn't understand what the fuck's going on with her, and then they're trying to tell her that she's one of them, and he's like, don't kill her, don't do anything. But she's like so far gone, obviously, like because she's already dead. And then was it Bill or was it Dan who no, I think it was Dan who shoots her, which is Judd's dad. But I think doesn't he get killed in there, like from her or from Timmy? Or
I think it's Timmy. Timmy's the one that pretty much kills everybody. He ends up killing Marjorie and obviously Dan. He kills like 3 or 4 people before we even get to that part that you said.
Yeah, I completely jumped a lot. So when they got their plan together and they went to the Baderman place because they're looking for Timmy, they brought all the people that are involved with the history, all the next of kin of the founders, and they're all on the Baderman property, and then they split up. And
Yeah.
so, but systematically, Timmy's went through and like was killing them one by one.
Right.
And it left Dan, Bill, Judd, Manny, and left in the main house. And Donna was in there, and then that's where the confrontation where Dan killed her. And then Dan gets killed, and then they're in the house is on fire, so then they go in the cellar, and then they go through the tunnels. Bill confronts Timmy and then gets killed, and somehow they find their way out of the tunnels, like into like the backwoods area. Yeah, so then there's like a swamp or something like that they're having a fight, like Judd and Timmy are having a fight.
Yeah, he goes after.
And then
Timmy goes after Judd.
Oh yeah,
in the swamp. Yeah.
Yeah. So Judd and Manny are walking through, and I think he like steps on some kind of like landmine, or he's on some kind of tripwire, where if he moves, like he's gonna blow up.
Yeah.
So he's basically left to just be there, And then Judd goes off into the swamp, looking for him, and then like Timmy's in the water, and then just pops up, and then they start to have like this conflict and fight, and then Manny because Judd gave him a flare gun, told him you're gonna need this to call for help for reinforcements.
Yeah, but instead,
yeah,
he uses it to kill Timmy.
Yeah, lights him up, and then you think that so Donna, you get this unnervingness of her being in this box, and it's like filling with the water, so you think that she's in the swamp, but no one knows where she's at because there's no sign of her anywhere, and she like finally she must have busted out herself like some way, just had the willpower or whatever, after being in the hospital and shit.
Yeah.
to break out of this fucking this container or this box that she was in that was filling up. So, and then like she's reunited with Judd, and then I'm not sure how they got Manny out because they don't really allude to that.
Yeah, you don't see that part. He just, the next thing you see is he's just out.
Yeah, Manny's in the car driving out of town.
Yeah, he's leaving.
Flips off the sign. He gets the fuck out. And then Judd and Norma decide that they're staying. And then
they're the ones leaving in the first place.
Yeah, they're the ones leaving.
Now they're staying, yeah.
And then you see that Judd basically is turning into his dad, sitting on the porch, just kind of eyeing the horizon. And he takes his dad's pack of cigarettes and like pulls one out and starts to light one up. So, just turns into his dad.
Yeah, that's when is it him narrating, saying sometimes dead is better?
Yeah, that's him.
And then he just like, stay the fuck out of Ludlow.
Basically, yeah.
The end. Roll credits.
Yeah, it's definitely a harder movie to explain than it is to watch.
Yeah.
But if you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. I actually didn't realize that they were the same character, young Judd and older Judd. It never dawned upon me that if I would have probably watched the first one again, I just didn't think there was continuity. I thought with the name Bloodlines and the whole like lore of the families and things like that, that's the bloodlines that they were talking about.
Yeah.
I didn't actually know it was truly an origin story of Judd. So there you go.
What do you give it?
I thought it was actually really good. I enjoyed it. Way better than the other fucking 2 sequels that they produced in this franchise. Because this is the 4th one of the series.
Right. Yeah, I didn't realize that. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. The first one I thought was really good, and then the next 2 just I think were shit. And then this one I thought redeemed itself. So
pretty good action in this one.
Yeah.
That last act had a lot of really good action. Cool kills.
It had a lot of angst, and I think that's what I liked about it, is it made me feel things. If it can evoke that type of emotion in me, that's when I'm really invested and involved with it. So I guess to answer your question, I would say 4 stabs.
4 stabs? Okay.
Yeah.
I was giving it 3. I enjoyed it well enough, And yeah, you're right. It's way better than the other sequels.
All right. Let us know what you guys thought of this Pet Sematary Bloodlines in the comments. See if you're on board with us or if you didn't like it at all. Next is Kill Her Goats. This one is a 2023 release, but it looks like the principal filming of it started back in 2015. Not sure what happened there, and hopefully we'll get some more elaboration later on as things develop with the guy who wrote the story. But this is the movie I was talking about in the last podcast, that when you got something that you just make that has no rhyme or reason for anything and you just put it in a film, this is that movie.
Okay.
So right off the bat, I would say it's either somewhere, it's like 1.5 or 2 stabs for me.
Really?
Just right off the bat.
Okay.
Because it's just, yeah.
Yeah, me too. At 2 stabs, I probably won't be watching this one again anytime soon either. I enjoyed it while I watched it. That first, or that only viewing that I did. Yeah, there's not. I expected a lot more from it too. I don't know. Not really. The trailer shows you just like a bunch of good-looking girls, and then a killer in a goat head, and I was like, that's super cool, you know. But then the story, as it develops, it was just
But did it develop?
right.
That's the question.
Yeah, my main complaint is that Kane Hodder was only in like 2 scenes, and then when they reveal who the real killer is, I think they shouldn't have revealed who the killer was. They should have just kept it as it's a crazy guy in a cool goat head with like a crazy double-sided, what was that thing? It's like a chainsaw, I think. It's like a double-sided chainsaw, I think is what he's using. I mean, just the look of the killer was super cool. But yeah, it develops into like this really dumb reason for the existence of this killer. It was just
There's no lore of Ghostface.
No.
So the only lore that they have was that this family that lived in this house were all killed. So that's all you get. But you get nothing about Ghostface or why there's goats, around on the island. It just seemed like a movie that this guy wanted to put together to have because he also hired like these.
They're like Playboy models, no?
Yeah, they're adult actresses, pinups.
Yeah,
That type of thing, and
not all of them. Nudie models.
Yeah, nudie models. Like not all of them, but some of them. And it was just, it seemed like another excuse for someone to put together a movie where girls are just going to be flashing for no fucking reason. That doesn't pertain to the story whatsoever.
No.
Kane Hodder, he's a stunt man, as well as an actor. And that's, I think, the only reason that he wanted to have a name attached to the film. So I think he hired him. That's probably why he was only in the 2 scenes.
Yeah.
And he wanted this big guy to be, Goatface, which, like I said, had no lore to it, no backstory, no nothing. Nothing. Like, you wouldn't even know, unless you're reading the credits, that there was a Goatface, or that he was called Goatface.
Yeah, and then there was another guy called the Batman or something like that. Remember the other killer? There's like a second killer with like an axe or something. And they killed him too. Literally, he was on it for like 2 minutes or something, and yeah.
That's fucking weird. Yeah, so it's just the whole concept of the movie was all over the place. There was like very minimal story. So this house was purchased by this girl's family, was given to her as a gift. So she basically gets this house while her, I'm guessing her mom and dad were divorcing or something like that, or she got it for like a graduation present.
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that. And she's not even like going to be at this place like full time. Like she lives somewhere else. But they gave it to her to try to like lure her back to this area where her family is.
Right, and like the only piece of lore they provide is that this house had like some killings or something. Somebody died in there or something.
Yeah,
like
the
that.
house itself had some history. But nothing along the lines of like a goat face or a goat killer or any of that shit. So yeah, you're right. Evil Batman.
Evil Batman. What the hell is that?
That makes no sense.
He never even gets named. The only reason I know that is because you read the IMDb and it's like, oh, that guy was called Evil Batman. Okay, maybe just like something on the set that they decided it was kind of fun to do and they went ahead and did it, but. Nothing for the audience, really.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, and same thing with goat face. Like, you don't even hear anything about that. You see someone with a goat head, like as a mask, in there, but you don't know that the person's actually named Goatface. And
right,
and then just the way the reveal is of who the 2 killers are, you wouldn't know that there was a lore of them. It just seemed like that they were just disgruntled. Not family members, but disgruntled people from relationships, that took upon themselves to try and either scare or kill these people. So you wouldn't think that they would actually have like serial killer style names.
Yeah, it was really weird because then the reveal, I guess, was that the goat face was somebody who was trying to kill. What is it? He was divorcing somebody, and he was trying to kill them for the money. For
the girl
inheritance.
The girl that inherited, the girl that got the house, her sister. It was her husband,
right?
that was the killer.
Yeah, that was the killer.
The main killer.
And he was trying to kill them for the money, or for the inheritance or something like that.
Yeah.
But then it was really weird because they kill the guy, right? And then it's the wife that kills him, I think. But then she starts fighting her sister for some reason. I didn't get that.
Like I said, the movie was all over the place. So in the beginning of the movie, it shows, so the dad is divorced. So the dad is camping with this younger girl.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so they get ready, like they're gonna get down.
And he gets killed first, yeah.
Yeah, and he gets killed, and then she gets killed. But nobody knows, like the girls and stuff like that don't know that. The girl who inherits the house comes back, gets to the house. Her friends show up. She's got these two girlfriends that that come to support her. And then there's the ex-boyfriend and his new girlfriend.
Yeah, another Playboy model.
Yeah, so a lot of gratuitous tit showing.
Yeah. He keeps trying to like take pictures of her, but he wants her to be topless, and she's like, okay, and she takes her shirt off.
Yeah, and they're like at the ocean, like at the beach, and he's just like just filming it up,
Yeah.
It's really hard to pay attention like to what was going on. I had to watch it like 3 times to try and like piece everything together, and there's still like it's just not put together very well.
Yeah, no, there's no continuity really. Then at the end, the main girl, played by Ariel Racine, tries to kill the girlfriend, because I guess that guy was her boyfriend. That's the ex-boyfriend, right?
Yeah.
And so she kills him, and then tries to kill. She kills the new girlfriend. She fucking just goes psycho for no reason at the end, and she was perfectly normal in like the first 10-15 minutes of the movie, and all of a sudden she turns on her sister. They have like this weird axe fight.
Yeah, that's the one thing I don't understand is what happened with them, is that she was discussing with her girlfriends about how if her sister, her and her sister were feuding, which is what I got already, and I'm sure it was about like inheritance and things like that, and who was getting what and where and why. I don't know. It was really hard to follow. So, the sister gets there, and then they're kind of buddy at first. It's like, oh, it's good to see you, and under these circumstances, and they're fighting the guy until they find out it's the husband.
Yeah.
Her husband, and then because I think the sister kills the husband, then it like sets the sister off, and then so the sister now wants to kill her other sister, and now they're just kind of going back and forth, and it's like I don't understand that. Like this guy was the killer, and he wanted to kill both of you, and because your sister killed your husband, now you're fucking mad at her.
Yeah,
makes no sense.
No, this movie did not make any sense, and I mean they had production value. You could tell they had some really expensive toys they were playing with, like those cameras, and they had some interesting camera angles, and it was professionally done, but the content, was there content? Yeah. Other than the boobies and the cool camera filters, lens filters, there's nothing much more to this movie.
Yeah, I'm with one of the actresses. One of her lines in it was, "What's with all these goats?" Because that's
right.
That was the other thing, is like there was a fucking ton of goats on the island. I guess that's a thing, but no one ever mentioned it. It was never brought up in the story. It just was assumed that you knew that. Like, I'm from California. I'm not from back east where this movie was set in. I have no idea what goes on in Cape Cod and in those areas.
Yeah, and it made me feel like Killer Goats was something that they came up with the title first, and then they tried to like build a story around. Like, wouldn't it be cool to make a movie called Kill Her Goats, and then there's goats in it, and hot chicks and stuff, and they just sort of stacked things on top of each other to make a movie. But it all started with like, wouldn't it be cool to, and then they just did whatever. I mean, cool if they had fun and everything, but as an audience, it didn't show me anything other than boobies, I guess.
Yeah, it's so I said it seemed like a movie for someone to have a reason to to put that out there.
Yeah, and like I said, the look of the killers was really cool. I mean, the look of the whole movie was cool looking, but nah.
When I saw the trailer for it, I was really thinking of Hatchet, which is the last Kane Hodder series that he did, where he played Victor Crowley.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that's kind of where they were going with this. Like it was going to be like something similar in that style. But yeah, when I watched it, I was just like, the fuck? So, and I made comments about like on the trailer, like remember how they showed the pictures on the wall? Looked like I was like, oh, it looks like low budget because it looked like they took Lizzie Borden and Jesse James. So upon watching it 3 times and actually paused it and looked at it, like they're not actual pictures of them, but it looks like it could have been their actual pictures used as reference, and then like
and they just did something else with it.
Yeah, they had like actors kind of like posing in those stances.
That's similar.
Yeah, so so it didn't look like them, because I don't know, maybe if I wouldn't think that there would be any type of licensing and things like that they would need to have for those pictures. But they had people similarly dressed and posing into those pictures that were on the wall. But those are supposed to be like family members of the house of the people that were killed.
Right. Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah. So overall, like we said, 2 stabs. We gave it the 1 stab and like 1 extra stab just for trying, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, kudos, like I said, to everybody who's out there making movies. I'm not. I wish I was, but just it takes money and it takes time, and those are just things that I don't personally have. And good for these guys that are out there doing it. Even though it might be crappy, at least you're still doing it. And this movie could have been so much more.
Yeah, a lot of missed opportunities on this one.
A lot of missed opportunities. It just seems like there was a lot of cooks in the kitchen. Yeah,
either that or just hire a good writer.
Yeah, because the guy who directed it also wrote it. So,
okay.
I don't know if he's just one of those egotistical guys that wants everything just.
It's my movie.
Yeah, wants everything for him.
Yeah,
but he could have gotten someone to help him co-write it. Could have tied together a lot more loose ends.
Yeah,
because there's a lot of loose ends. Anyways, that's Killer Goat. We obviously didn't really like it, so let us know what you thought, if you even saw it or if you even know about it.
Right.
All right, Monster Squad. Those were the 4 movies in our second part review. Again, that was House of Darkness, the 2022 release. The Rental, 2020 release. Pet Sematary Bloodlines, a 2023 release. And the not-so-favorite, Kill Her Goats, with the 2023/2015 release.
Didn't go so well.
Yeah, did not go so well.
Especially for how long it took them to make it.
Yeah, I expected something better. I actually expected a B movie, and it didn't really even deliver that.
No.
So, but yeah, those are your 4. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you have any comments about any of these movies that we talked about, drop it in the comment section. Let us know, if you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you agree with us, if you don't agree with us. We'd love to hear from you guys. If you guys liked the intro and outro music, and also the music that's playing along in the background throughout this podcast, that is by a band named Zao, Z-A-O. You can find them at zaoonline.net. The song is a raw mixed version of their song Creator Destroyer off their Crimson Corridor album. These guys are one of my favorite bands. Check them out if it sounded like something that you wanted to listen to. You guys can also follow us on all of our social medias. We have Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, YouTube, Rumble, and you can listen to our podcast not only on the YouTube and the Rumble, but you can find it on the Apple Podcast and the Spotify for podcasters. I think all the other platforms that they had out there are kind of going away, or at least they're turning into some type of other entity. I'm not really too sure. I'm just getting emails about that. So I just know the two for sure are Apple and Spotify. We also do horror trivia, and you can find that on most of all the platforms. We have a TikTok, so that's where you can hear horror trivia. And then I also post it on the Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr. Any other information you want to find out that we have posting, you can find it at our website at www.thehorrorscene.com. There we'll have movie reviews. You have the links to get to the podcast via YouTube or Rumble. Anything else that we have posted or that we've talked about should be on there. Do you have anything that you want to add?
Yeah, if you've listened to the end, thank you for being with us. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Just any engagement, we really appreciate it.
Yes, definitely. Your likes and subscribes keeps us alive. So the more, the better. Also tell all of your friends.
Yeah, spread the word.
Yeah, definitely. One entity that I haven't mentioned in a while that I'd like to bring up again is Slasher.tv.
Oh, yeah.
These guys are basically the Facebook of horror. They just don't have all the bullshit that Facebook brings along with it. So if you are into horror, you want to meet like-minded people, sign up for Slasher. Check it out. It's really cool. We have a profile on there.
Yeah.
Lots of people, lots of community for the horror. So check it out, Slasher.tv. All right, so thanks for tuning in. And remember to stay creepy and keep it spooky. From our grave to yours, these have been your last rites.
This is Last Rites.